Welcome, Shane Mathew.
Thank you.
Good to
Nice
see
to
you.
see you.
Actually, I think this is the first time meeting in person,
Yeah, in
right?
person. This
Yeah.
is really a good opportunity. Yeah, so I come to these conferences so I can see people that I talk to on LinkedIn all the time.
LinkedIn, and actually, we've been guests on each other's podcasts too.
Exactly.
All of us have.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
it's good to actually be in person for a change.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
Shane, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Experienced a resilience leader over the last 17 years now, working in various industries, but predominantly in government, healthcare, and in most recently in technology. Worked for Zoom Video Communications. And then in the last few months, I've actually been doing my own personal consulting, freelance, working with different clients and a variety of different groups that I've been able to be able to call my clients now. So it's been exciting. So most recently, I've been doing that.
Fantastic.
Now, you, believe it or not, have cropped up a couple of times when we've been talking
You
with other
are
guests.
the most
No
famous
way,
person
really?
in
Yes.
this conference.
Is it good?
Everyone
yes.
has said, "Did you go to Shane's session on AI?"
No way.
And I said no because we've been chained to the
We've been
booth.
here. Yeah.
But seriously though, you have been talked about more than anyone else.
Oh, exciting.
Here.
Yes.
Exciting.
Congratulations on that. So we'd love to, hear a little bit about what you talked about
Yeah.
and what got the audience so fired up.
Yeah, so I talked about AI in business resilience. So basically, what I did was I walked people through the concept of what AI is today, what it looks like in terms of how they're built, the way models are designed, and gave everybody kind of just an introductory lesson in that. And then I kind of talked through what are some of the common available tools today. Particularly, people know about ChatGPT. It's a language learning model. And so that, as well as Google and other companies like Meta, are making a lot of these tools available to the public. And so then I started to think through, well, what are some of the other AI tools? Because beyond language learning, there's a lot of other options for businesses, right? So we talked about how they're made, but also some of the challenges. For example, ChatGPT, anything you put into that little cursor is going into the cloud, and therefore you have to be really careful about what kind of proprietary data that you have at your fingertips that you're putting into the system. So we talked about that, but then I also started to show people how AI tools in the near future are coming that have a variety of interesting options for resilience. So things like data analysis. How many times have we sat in front of a large spreadsheet of BIA data, and then you're just like, what do I do with this? So having AI being able to analyze that is coming, as well as threat intelligence, supply chain optimization, resource allocation in the midst of emergency, not having to deal with even communications because an AI bot is building a press release for you. That's what's coming. And there's a lot of actually vendors that are building tools right now that are integrating tools. But then at the end, I spent time talking about ChatGPT in particular, because I think there's an amazing capability for tools like that to build some of the tenant stuff that we do. So a tabletop exercise was one of those, and showing how it can actually craft a scenario and injects and cut your design time from 4 or 5 hours down to like 3 or 4 minutes. It's pretty impressive what it can do and how robust they are now. And also data analysis and how ChatGPT is now starting to develop mechanisms for you to input data into it, and it starts to make actual recommendations based on what it sees. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but ultimately that's the steps. And so we started getting a lot of questions because people were just like, first of all, they didn't understand how it works. It was good for them to understand that. But then secondly, they were really impressed with the capability of language learning models today and what's coming in our industry in the future.
What are some of the challenges that people were bringing forward, either during the session or that you're aware of, that they have with AI, or maybe even the misconceptions about AI?
Yeah, I think the big challenge right now is data privacy. So, you work for a company, some companies are shutting off ChatGPT completely from the access of their personnel, right? And I completely understand why. So data security is there. And so some people raise that question. Then also the concept of has anybody developed a policy around how a company should use AI? And so that's the types of stuff that people were questioning. One cool thing, though, is that I've read that Microsoft Azure is creating its own business-oriented ChatGPT model, so that way it can be dedicated to your business, and then that way you have your data in an enclosed, secure environment as opposed to being in the broader data model. So those are some of the questions.
Hacked.
Until that gets hacked.
Now I only have to hack one thing of your system.
Right. Exactly. No, but I mean, definitely people were curious. And I think that was really the point of doing this presentation was that I was reading all about it in other industries. And I was like, well, why wouldn't it apply to us? In fact, one of the things I really realized was this, that, AI is forward thinking, predictive capability, kind of look at the data and say, this is where we see it going. That's what we do, right? That's what we anticipate, emergency scenario planning. So why isn't there like a marriage right off the bat in our two areas, right?
Do you think there's fear with AI using it? Because let's face it, you might as well just say the elephant in the room. People are fearing AI because they think they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, that's one quote that several people have said in my presentation was a big one, which is AI is not going to take your job. Somebody who can master AI may give you a run for the money. So I think we all need to not be scared of exploring it and really understanding it and being the leader of implementation in our organization, rather than just sitting back and saying, I'm just going to keep my head buried in the sand.
Yeah.
I always have to ask a question completely unrelated to throw both Alex and the guest off.
Of course.
So it's my understanding that the hottest ticket in town today is the happy hour you are doing with Sean Watson.
Yeah.
At 4:30.
Yeah, well, it's 5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Got to knock 3 times and have a secret password.
Yeah.
A non-software vendor hosting anything is rather unusual at a conference.
Absolutely.
So tell me about how this came together.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to sell anything right now. My consulting is really going well for me, and so I'm just really enjoying networking, and that's what part of the reason I come to conferences like this. But what I notice is that if I'm not buying anything, then I don't get invited to many meals on Tuesday night. And I figured that there were quite a few other people that probably share that same sentiment. So it was just a spur of the moment thing, which if you're a member of my LinkedIn community, you should understand a lot of it's spur of the moment what I post. So that was just like, hey, if you have no plans, let's go grab a drink together, And then Sean reached out because he was like, you know what, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. Would you be willing to partner together? And so that's what we're doing. So
and now all the vendors hate you, so you have that going for you.
Hey, you know what? If they hate me,
they'll try sneak in for the free drink.
It's like, the people are going to Shane's happy hour instead of getting in a locked room where I can beat people over the head until they buy
so that's
software.
why I did not want to hurt any vendors prospects. So that's what we created, the happy hour concept, so that way people can come and visit, and then they can take off and go to other events if they've been invited. But yeah, it's actually a very small space that we have, so we ask people to kind of tell us in advance so we could find the right room here. So it's going to be cool though, I think, because it's just something like, again, no sales pitch within our confines of our discussions. It's an opportunity. Some people are coming just because, man, they just want to talk to other people that are in the field and meet some people they may not have been able to do just by coming to this large gathering. Some people are just naturally introverts, and so being in those environments, they're not accustomed to maybe going and saying. And so if I can facilitate those conversations, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I'm one of those introverts.
Are you? I cannot believe that.
We're doing a live broadcast right now, and no, you're not.
No one ever believes me.
How many podcasts
really
have you done? 80,000?
Over 700.
Okay, that you have crossed the introvert line.
Well, see, okay, I will say that my wife is like Alex, and that she can turn it on and be an extrovert, but then that switch comes off and she needs the recharging time. So I totally get
that. Is me. When it's over, okay, now I got to get away. And I'll even speaking on the stage, I may come across as an extrovert, but as soon as I'm done, no, I'm going to stand by the side at the back corner to watch. Like, just
I totally get that. Well,
stay away.
James is not like that.
He's an attention whore. So bring me all the spotlight. I'll take it. I will take it. And yes, that's the first time I think I've used that word on our broadcast. But yeah, no, I love the spotlight. So I'm happy to take it. So
No, I understand. I understand.
Now, I know you talked about AI and some of the challenges. And I know you've done lots of other things too, because we've had other conversations, all
Yeah.
three of us. What do you see being here and talking with some people that are maybe one of the top two challenges that seem to be facing our industry right now?
That's a good question. I think, we're entering into a time economically that the business environment is very challenging for parts of the business that don't produce revenue. Okay, I can speak from experience strongly that if you're working for a company, it's exciting at the beginning, and then something hits, and you see a downward interest spiral. So,
Usually that probation period ends, isn't that?
yeah. So, we're entering into that spin. So my suggestion or my challenge that I would say, let's start to think through is, you know, start to build relationships if you don't have them yet in the business, but also outside of the business, right? This is an opportunity like DRJ, but even on LinkedIn. I mean, like 2015, that happened to me. I got laid off, and from that point forward, I was like, you know what? I had no way to get a job except through by the grace of God. And so I was like, this time I'm going to make sure that I'm not so isolated. And so,
exactly.
that was really it took some time, but that was something I'd say is we're challenged as an industry because we naturally understand why this is important and what we're doing is important, but we're so focused on helping the business that we don't think about helping ourselves sometimes. And I think that's a challenge that the industry needs to really overcome quickly.
That's another thing that's cropped up a few times, hasn't it? Right from Heidi's presentation yesterday, a couple of people yesterday that we talked to, a couple of people today have all said that same thing. Look, we need to start working on ourselves.
Yeah.
As well as we are trying to work on our organizations.
Right. I think another challenge I will add in there though is also being open to innovation. I mean, right now we've been in the industry. I've been in the industry for 17 years, and I think I'm seeing similar things that I saw when I first got here. And so thinking outside the box and saying, hey, we're okay with adapting. That's why this whole AI thing was so, I think, resonated with people, is because it's a little bit of change and not necessarily taking on the traditional tasks on our own shoulders, but outsourcing it a bit with a tool like AI. And so that way we can concentrate on some of the other things. I think that's really the first key step for all of us.
That's an interesting way of putting it, outsourcing some of that bits and pieces, by using AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we outsource to help us anyway.
Sure.
So why not outsource a couple of things that can help us as well?
Yeah, I know my mom, whenever I was telling her that my daughter's using a computer and internet searches for school, she's like, don't they need to memorize things anymore? And I was like, well, no, because the data today available at our fingertips with microprocessors being able to just like that give us, don't use your brain power for that. Use your brain power to process the information differently. So I had kind of walked through that. And I think we have to think that way in the same way here. We could go out and get questionnaires done and gather so much data.
Yeah.
But now I think we need to start moving that aside and saying, what can we do with information that we gather? How can we show dividends with the investment people are making in our programs?
Yeah, sometimes I think, we gather so much data, it becomes like an asset management task. And then we only use a couple of bits of it. So it's like people that gave you all that information look at you and kind of, well, why the heck did I give all that information to you if you're not even using it?
No, absolutely. I agree with that.
So since you're the AI guru now at DRJ, come DRJ spring,
sure,
will Alex have replaced me with the chatbot on the broadcast?
Or will he have replaced me with a chatbot?
I mean, the jury's still out on which one. But do y'all remember Max Headroom from back in the 80s?
I did.
I can envision one of y'all being the Max Headroom, meaning like, have side by side an additional character there.
And we could do a Halloween broadcast.
Yeah,
we could do that one.
I would totally do a Max Headroom broadcast. Absolutely. I don't know how our sponsors and partners would feel about that.
Yeah, there might be some challenge there.
We might have to go no green screen for that one.
Shane, great chatting with you.
Yeah,
and if
absolutely.
people want to talk to you, like if they have questions about AI or or anything else, because you are a wealth of knowledge, they want to reach out, how best to find you?
So the couple ways to do it, LinkedIn, Shane Mathew, it's an easy way to add. And I'm always trying to help as much as I can through that platform. My website, stoneriskconsulting.com. And on there right now, I've got some free AI tools that I've created that I think will help people, like a prompt engineering guide, as well as a tabletop design and ChatGPT guide. So people can go and download those informations and always communicate through me through that. More than happy to help anywhere I can.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thanks very much,
Yeah.
Shane. Great to finally meet you face to face.
Yes, same here. Same here.
So many Zoom chats and
I know.
everything else.
I know.
under
It's
the
not
sun,
the
so-
same. It's not the
Yeah,
same.
not the
Shane,
same.
it's always a
It's
pleasure.
always a pleasure. Yep.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Enjoy
Take
the
care.
rest of DRJ.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.